Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you here on this Friday. I hope you had a great week, ready for the weekend. If not too late, it's here, baby. Welcome aboard, Alec Lasley from the Hoosier.com, joining us here now. Alec, how are you doing, brother?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Cannot complain. We have been talking about many things. Indiana had the opportunity to make up some ground. Unfortunately, they played Northwestern, a really good team on the road, could not get that job done. Purdue loses that game to Maryland to give them that little bit of opportunity. But I don't think that that's going to happen. But we were discussing the Big Ten tournament, and I think this could be the year for Indiana in the Big Ten tournament. Of course, you could say that every year since it's never been the year for Indiana in the Big Ten tournament, since they've never won it and only been to the championship game once. I just have this feeling that this is the year because we know that there's no team that is dominant, that is better than they are. They're as good as anybody because they've beaten Purdue. They're as good as Northwestern. I would say that all day long. It's just playing them right, and every other team. So we know they have the talent to win that. They're going to get the double bye, so they're going to have that. And Trace Jackson Davis, I just talked about his career as being a royal career without a crown, and this would be that crown to add to his career at Indiana. Not the crown that you want, of course. It would rather be a Final Four or even a Big Ten title, but I think a Big Ten title, a Big Ten tournament championship would sure mean a lot, especially since it has never happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And when not only he talked about coming back with this entire group, obviously Mike Woodson talked about what this potential legacy could be for Trace Jackson Davis. Even nationally, when people talk about him, it's all mainly individual categories and individual stats. That's the one thing that's always been missing from his quote unquote legacy, is that team aspect of it. Obviously, he's been on some bad Indiana teams in the past. This year, obviously, much better than any other team he's been on. Last year was obviously significantly better as well. And what they were able to do, right, getting to the NCAA tournament, that was kind of that one box that he was able to check off. Now, with the expectations that they had this year, kind of the rocky path that they've been on to get where they are right now, which is, I think, where still a lot of people thought they'd be at, February 17th, just not maybe the path to take them there. Everything's still right in front of them, right? I still think the regular season Big Ten title's a bit out of reach, but still some things potentially could fall, but that seems a little bit far-fetched at this moment. So you look at the Big Ten tournament title, and obviously they were a shot away from getting there last year to the championship game with the run that they went on. And I think you look at this team and you expect them, right, to play and reach to that same potential that they hit last year. I wouldn't be shocked if they went in and won it, just the way that they have been playing, and the fact that obviously they don't have to go to a true road environment and play there. So there's a lot of things going right for Indiana, even with obviously the most recent loss. But looking ahead, most of the big time games coming up for Indiana aren't going to be true road games. So take that for what it's worth with how Indiana's been able to compete typically at home in the Indy area, right, in the Big Ten tournament, at least as of last year, and potentially get some magic going into the NCAA tournament, because I still think this team still has a lot of those goals and aspirations truly within reach that they wanted at the start of the season.
Devil's advocate a little bit here, because apparently that's going to be my theme for the day. Indiana's going to try to win the Big Ten tournament. They want to win the Big Ten tournament. Fans want to win the Big Ten tournament. Is it potentially more beneficial to be eliminated early from that, purely from the standpoint of that means you get a full week to rest Trace Jackson Davis, you get a full week to rest Race Thompson? I mean, as well as they are playing, I have to believe they're getting worn down at least to some degree. And you're talking about, I assume that they're going to end up with a double bye. So you're talking about playing games Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then potentially again Thursday. Whereas if you lose on Friday, you're done until the following Thursday. I'm not saying Indiana's going in there with that mindset. I'm just saying, is there some sort of detriment to this team in terms of health heading into the NCAA tournament where you could potentially have to play 5 games in, 7, whatever the math works out there, 7 or 8 days?
So I think yes and no, right? The way that this team is playing, though, right now, I think you want to continue to get them on the floor and play as many games and stay in this rhythm that they are, especially as we talked about, I think it was last week, with Xavier Johnson potentially coming back. You want to get all the potential minutes with him on the floor as possible with this group.
Sure.
So you're going into the NCAA tournament knowing kind of where everyone's at in terms of what the role is, what the expectations are for each player. So I think you look at it that way. And right, if they do get a double bye, they're going to get, close to a week off, theoretically, right? Obviously 5-6 days, whatever it would be from their last regular season game to their first Big Ten tournament game. So right there in itself is a pretty good rest. Obviously playing, 3 games in 3 days potentially, it is what it is, right? I mean, these guys, most of these guys have been in college long enough to know that, that's just what happens at this time of year. With Trayce Jackson-Davis, I think you would like to potentially sneak in some extra rest just in terms of the game. So hopefully Indiana can get out to, a couple bigger leads, maybe get him some spot minutes and not have him play 37, 38, 39 minutes a game, because I don't think he can sustain that moving forward into a lot of these big time games. Now, when I say that, I'm probably going to go back in reverse here, because in the NCAA tournament and the Big Ten tournament, all those games are on TV. You're going to have longer TV timeouts. You're going to have ways to stretch the game out. So when I now say that, I think it's actually not as big of a deal moving forward into the Big Ten tournament and NCAA tournament, because you're going to find ways within the game itself, without taking him out, to stretch out those minutes and get him added rest.
And just to go to your point, Dustin, statistics have shown that if you want to make a run in the NCAA tournament, that it is better to make a run in the Big Ten tournament. I'll have more on that at another time.
Well,
and I know what it's leads you to think that, because a lot of people like to think that last year they lost to St. Mary's in the NCAA tournament because of the quick turnaround and all of that, and it simply wasn't the case. They got beat by a better team.
Right.
They just got beat by a better team. Were they maybe a little tired? Yeah, maybe, but like Mike Woodson says all the time, they're 19 and 20 years old. Damn it.
Right.
You have an unlimited supply of energy at that age.
I would not bring up that point if it was a lot of other teams in the Big Ten, but because Indiana has battled the injury bug, because Trayce Jackson-Davis has battled the back, Race Thompson, Xavier Johnson, because they've had injuries, that's where it's more of an injury than it is a rest standpoint. And just to be clear for people in the comments, I'm not saying Indiana's trying to lose or the players want to lose. I'm just bringing up the question.